Those are microgreens, my friend. Those are gorgeous and delicious. We're talking about a little seedling here, and that's grown tall enough to have 2 little leaves on it, versus continuing to grow for months and be a whole head of broccoli, for example. And all that energy that would have gone into growing that little tiny seedling into the head of broccoli apparently is just concentrated in that little seedling. So when you trim off your microgreens and put them on a salad, or put them in some soup, or put them on your vegan burger, just a little dollop of microgreens on there, I prefer a handful, gives you so much more nutrients than a head of broccoli. It's amazing. Not that head of broccoli isn't good for you too. It's very good for you. But there are days where I can't eat much at all, and so and my vitamins have been deficient for a couple years now, at least since I started getting them tested, and I just can't get my vitamins up with supplements right now. I have too many gut issues, and the microgreens still might not work for me because of my gut issues, but it's worth trying. And so it's definitely a healthier way to eat, as proved by this study that was done by, study was published, and it showed, I keep forgetting my words, 4 to 40 times more packed with nutrients than the mature plants. The study I'm thinking of to prove that microgreens are healthier for you, it was done in September of 2012 by AGNR, and I can't remember what AGNR stands for, so I'll put it over top of the video. I have a couple bags of seeds I got off Amazon. The broccoli is my favorite so far because it's so delicious and sturdy. It doesn't fall over very easily. Unlike the alfalfa, it falls over really, really easily and just doesn't seem to hang in there very long. But the broccoli does amazing. It's really easy to grow inside, even with just sunlight. So the first thing I do is get some organic potting soil in here, or organic seedling soil, and I make sure it's nice and as flat as it can be. And some people cut a piece of wood and press it down to make it really, really flat, but I don't do that. And you don't have to wear gloves when you're doing this, but I do, just to keep the germs off for sure, because you can sometimes get a mold or fungus, and it can ruin a batch. So I just prefer to be safe and use a glove when I'm taking the seeds out. And you want to make sure to seal up these bags nice and tight and store them in a dark, cool area of your home. So normally what I would do is get the dirt really nice and wet, not so wet that there's standing water in the bottom, but a really good soak, and then I would mist the seeds after I put them in. But I forgot to do that, so I'm going to have to give them a really, really thorough spritzing here with the water. And if I end up squirting it so much with water that I move seeds around and create blank spots, then I'll just have to adjust the seeds. It depends how dry your dirt is when you first put it in as to how much water it's going to soak up. So you're really going to have to just play it by ear and use common sense. And you will be returning every morning and evening to give it a nice spritz again. So if it does dry up a lot between now and the next time you spray, it won't be a total disaster because you'll be coming back to give it more. You want to make sure that you're working with plastics that are food grade plastics. You don't want to be using recycled plastics, or you don't want to be using plastics with certain recycling numbers on the bottom that are not specifically designed to have food grown in them, because otherwise you'll have these chemicals leaching up through the plastic into your dirt, into your food, and the whole point of this is to eat things that are healthy and good for you, and chemicals are not good for you. So I have this lovely setup here, and this lid helps keep the moisture in while also letting a little bit of air come and go so that it doesn't get really moldy. You don't want this to be airtight. Whatever lid you choose, whatever cover you have on here, you don't want it to be airtight. But it is nice to have something keep some of the moisture in. For the first 3 days, we keep the seedlings completely in the dark. So a great place for this is in the pantry. And if you can't keep it in a really, really dark place 100% of the time, then you want to cover it with a thick cloth. The theory is by keeping it covered for the first 3 days, it forces the seedlings to grow taller and to try to find the light. Now, another thing that I do is I set mine on a germination heat mat, and it really has improved the quality of my greens. And because I'm putting them on a heat mat, they actually grow much faster than they normally would. So you have microgreens much faster. So I just place it on the heat mat, and I will come back this evening and give it a spray. Another way that I've done it is by using a clay jar and using the lid of the jar to place on top to cover it. You do have to use a lot more water because the clay jar will suck up the water. So I would spray very liberally around the edges. And the clay jar doesn't pull up the heat from the mat as well as plastic or glass, but it does work. If you only have clay pots and you don't want to invest in plastic trays or other stuff, if you just want to give it a go with clay pots in the beginning and see if you can do this and enjoy it, this is a way to go. Another way to go is using glass Pyrex, and I love it. It's fabulous doing that. The glass really pulls up the heat from the heat mat, and the greens do amazing in a nice, not very deep casserole dish. So this is also another option. If this is all you have in your kitchen to use, this would be a way to do it as well that has worked beautifully for me. After I'm done with a batch of microgreens, I take the leftover dirt and I put it in this food grade bucket, and it composts itself, and then I can use the dirt again. And that's what it looks like right now. It takes longer for it to break down in the winter. In the summer, it breaks down really, really fast. This is what it looks like after 24 hours. And I just misted it again, and I forgot to mist it last night because I didn't forget, I fell asleep. So yeah, hopefully this works. It looks like they're starting. Do you see all that goodness starting up in the seeds? Oh, it's beautiful. So it is time to uncover these. They're growing beautifully despite the fact that I completely forgot about them yesterday and didn't remember to water them until I had insomnia and was up at like 2:30 in the morning and remembered about them. But they're doing beautifully, so it's time to uncover them, and now that I'll be uncovering them, they're just going to be gorgeously green after a day of light. Hi. Okay, so I also have these lovely little grow lights from Amazon that I got. They were really inexpensive, and I think it helps it out just a little bit during these dark days of winter. Very little sunlight comes through this window, especially on these really really gray days like that. It has been dark and gray all day. And so having some, and usually around 4 o'clock in the winter, if I remember, if I'm awake, I'll turn on these little grow lights and give it a little extra help. I don't think that the grow lights are necessary in any way. It just, I think it helps the greens get a little, I think it helps the greens grow faster. I think really the crucial part of helping these greens grow fast is the warm mat that I have underneath it. And I think that costs just like, I don't know, $15 on Amazon or something like that. But that has really helped shorten the time of growing the greens. Oh, it's gorgeous. Look at that. Even though I've been neglecting it, it's beautiful. Oh, those are microgreens, my friend. Those are gorgeous and delicious. Oh my goodness. Wow. I can't believe they did so well even after neglecting them yesterday. Here we have a lovely plate of delicata squash with some herbs on top. And we are going to put some of the microgreens on top. Ah, delicious. Look at that. Yum, yum, yum. When you trim, you want to trim so that you're getting as much of the microgreens as you can, but you don't want to pick up the dirt. If you do, rinse it off. And I just drizzle some olive oil over it. Hey Annabelle, where are you going? So this is what it looks like after 24 hours. Oopsie. I'm not that coordinated these days.